All right, we're here with second place Conroe Store Champion and first place Cytex Champion Marco playing not a unique Frieza build. I know it's based off of Peter Katani, but this is what we got.
All right, guys, how you doing again? This time we got a deck profile of the deck that I took to two different store championships, shop championships. That's what it's called. Yeah. So this one, it's pretty much my boy Daniel. He let me borrow the deck. I told him I want to run something different. He let me borrow it. This is the deck he took to States. It's pretty much similar, but we're still gonna do the deck profile. I'm gonna go over my matches I did at both stores, and yeah. So Golden Frieza, for those who don't know, basically activate main once per turn. You pop a Frieza army card, retap one energy, can be any color energy, and draw one card. When your life is at 4 or less, you awaken and draw 2. The awaken side, basically the same thing, except when you pop the Frieza army card, you tap 2 energies of any color, and you draw a card, and obviously when you attack, you draw a card as well. So going off with the main deck, by the way, this leader is absolutely amazing. Personally, in my opinion, I think it's maybe nearly the best leader. The deck is just way too consistent.
Would you prefer him or Goku?
Honestly, I prefer this leader, most definitely. The deck is just absolutely consistent. So we did the 4 boos. That's the word I should say, consistency. Probably the best one drop. We ran 4 Sensu Beam. This card is absolutely amazing in this deck. But funny thing is, I ended up energizing this card 90% of the time. I either will energize my boos in very late game because I have enough draw power at that point. I did not want to deck myself out any sooner. Or in early game, I will energize this just to use my boos, or I'll energize the coercions, which I ran 3 of, by the way. So yeah. Obviously people would know that this card goes very good with the Frieza, the 4-drop Frieza in this deck that does dual attack. So I would highly recommend running 4. You should not run any lower than that in this deck. And we ran 2 beers. I spoke to Daniel, and he made the decision of running beers instead of the Golden Frieza, because at that point you're bored. You want to have board presence during late game. And he pretty much said he didn't really want to return anything to his hand, especially when we have very good cards that does board control. But sometimes early game, we have that one problematic card. For example, maybe like a 7-drop Cell. So he opted to run 2 beers to handle any problematic card like that. And I absolutely agree with his decision. Beers came in very clutch at times. And yeah, so I was definitely satisfied with that decision. We ran 3 results of training. I think 3 is a very good number in this deck. I know in Starter Deck Goku I said we must run 4. In my opinion, I should have ran 4. In this deck, we can get away with 3 because this deck just filters through this deck filters through the deck so much and so quick that you're bound to see it sooner or later. There was one battle or duel, however we want to refer it to, that I had where I did not see results of training until like energy 7 or 8, which was very worrisome. But once I got this, I pretty much somehow miraculously turned the game around that late in the game and regained control and was able to win, and I'll speak of that. We ran 1 Frieza Call. It's a very good card. I think 1 is a good number, maybe 2, but 1 is a good number because you want to avoid running so many extra cards in the deck. And yeah, and this is like your 1 card that allows you to search through your deck. So if you're curious about what you have left in your deck or anything, this is the card. This is the one time you look through, you see what you're missing, what you have, what might be in your life, and so forth. And yeah, very good card. I like it at 1. 2, you can get away with it, but personally 1 is a good number. We ran 3 Cold Bloodlust. At times I really wanted to run 4, but I think 3 was a good number. I wouldn't mind 4 at all. I think 4 would have been a good number, but the reason we didn't run 4 is because we opted to run the 1 negate. Very good card. 1 is only needed when you're late game, you're pushing in for game. They have that 1 negate in hand, and you can just push in, just finish them off. The 1 negate is there. We really don't need 2. Maybe you do. I did almost opted to side 1 more negate because I have a friend that goes to our locals and I knew he was participating, and he runs Raccoon Gun in his deck, and I think he runs like 3 or 4, and that card is just super annoying to deal with. At the Conroe tournament, I played him twice there, and this card won me both games because I negated his Raccoon Gun. I was like, not today. So, on to the next card. We run 4 Avenging Friezas. Probably one of the best card in the decks, man. Just look at the top 3. You have a lot of targets, but there was this one game where I did whiff all 4. I was very worried. I was facing a starter Goku deck. I thought I lost that game, but, you know, this deck just has so much control. It's insane. So, run 4, good filter. We run 3 Sorbets, and then we run 4 Goldos. We did the 3 and 4. I agree with his thought process. Is because Goldo is just super good for early game. You should basically put their 1 drops or 2 drops. 9 out of 10 times is like Boos, Bulmas, or Bundle Curiosity Gokus, or even Kavas. So you can set them. Either you should run them over. If they want to use the resources to save it, let them. Next turn, you'll just do it all over again. And yeah, so that's why we ran 3. And Sorbet was just there for the popping or energy. I did not use his effect once in either state. Either shop tournaments. We run 4. What is this? Destructive Occupation Frieza. We ran 4 of those. Very good cards. These cards are funny because for some reason, compared to the other ones, these cards save each other more than the actual leader. I've observed that, and I just see that a lot. You know, when you summon the Gohans, they'll attack the leader. Sometimes they'll attack the other over the Gohan, and sometimes you just don't have the Gohan in your hand. But for some reason, you just always have one of these to save each other. That's why I see them used most of the time for it. But very good card, good for pressure, good for popping effects, good for siding. Yeah. Not all of them. We side 1 out sometimes. Run 4 Dodora, self-explanatory. We run 1 of the full power Frieza. Very good card. I kind of wish I ran 2, but I think 1 was a good number because when you see it, it was either at the really right time or you seen it at the beginning of the game, which is really the wrong time. But when it came at the right time, it was absolutely amazing. My boy Danny always told me that one of the key things he was using this card for is to knock his opponent's life from 5 to 2 because it's a triple strike. 9 out of 10 times with the amount of control you have with this deck, they don't have the resources to stop this attack. And also they're in a state of mind where they want to awaken because they have to. You know, they have to start fighting back, so they'll normally take this hit. And when they do, they're at 2 life. At that point, you have so many double strikes in your deck, as mentioned by Danny in his deck profile video, that it just doesn't even matter. We just throw them up on the field, and the amount of pressure you just put in is just ridiculous. We run 2 of the Mecha Frieza, the Returning Terror. I guess that's his name. Very good card. I kind of wish I ran 3. When I would see one early on, I would just end up energizing it because I had to. Or yeah, then when I needed one, when one was already energized, I just wouldn't see the other one until like it was just super late, or I just had to find another solution for the problem I was running into. So yeah, so sometimes I wish I ran 3, but I stuck with 2. I pretty much didn't change anything in the deck that my friend ran through states. I just changed like 2 cards on the side. I believed his judgment call, and we went with it. My favorite card in the deck, by far, Clan of Terror Mecha Frieza. This card is just absolutely insane. The amount of control this card gives you in battles, it just can't be explained. You look at their hand, you put something on the field, 9 out of 10 times it's the combo pieces, the 10k draw one, and when you run it over, either they try to save it, which would still be end up dead because they're still above 5 life, and yeah, so that it puts your opponent in a situation where when they lose their 10k pieces, they have to use their offensive weapons, especially starter deck Gokus. They will have to use their Kales to combo with. They'll have to use their Gotenks to combo with. It just puts them in a very bad situation where they need to survive, but they also will not have firepower in the next turn. So late game, this card is just absolutely amazing. In the finals, I summoned 2 of them in the Cytex Championship tournament. I summoned 2 of them in the finals on the same turn. Just brutal card, man. This card, I mean, 4 would have been good, but 3 was a good number because of this guy. This guy's my other favorite card. He's a very late game card, but this guy's just absolutely amazing, man. I'm super happy that Daniel ran 2. I would have ran 2, because sometimes you should see this guy in the beginning of the match and you're just like, oh Lord, what do I do with this card? Because if I only ran 1, he would have stayed in my hand until like turn 7 or 8. But since I ran 2, one would get energized, you know, with no cost or whatever, like no remorse. And then the other one would come in and just finish the game off. This card is insane. I would use all my boos. I would keep my boos on the field, banish 1 boo, bring out most likely discard the promo that licks his hand. And yeah, this card's insane, man. This card is absolutely insane. And then to finish it off, we ran 2 Mass Saiyans. Really good for pressure. He put me in an awkward position sometimes, because sometimes my graveyard or my drop area was filled up with the 4 drops, and I didn't want to get rid of them because next turn I'm going to cooler. So normally I would try to cooler and then summon the Max Saiyan, but it didn't work like that sometimes. Sometimes I had to give up what was in my drop area and then just refill it and so forth. So that's the main deck. Nothing was changed to Daniel's build. Very good, consistent deck. Off to the side deck. Okay, we ran 3 Mysterious Presence Manaka. He was in for the Cell matchups. I played 2 Cells, and in Conroe I didn't play any. In Cytex I played 2. Excuse me, in Top Cut. Awkward situation with Cytex. We did best of 3s in Swiss, but in Top Cut they only did best of 1s, which I was highly upset about because I'm a really big fan of the sideboard, but it all worked out at the end, I guess. I got it. 3 Jocos, Vegeta, what else? Vegeta, any aggro decks, Cell matchups to postpone the TNs to give me another turn to add another energy so that way I can fight back and put myself in a good position. Yeah, Jocos are needed in the side. Not in the main, definitely in the side. We decided the 4 Cold Bloodlust. Against Goku players, we try to make sure we have a Cold Bloodlust against the Gotenks. As mentioned in my previous video, the Gotenks is what allows you to put multiple threats on the board. So 4 Bloodlust. And then we put 3 Crusher Balls. This is also for aggro decks against androids, Goku players, and even sometimes Vegeta players, depending on how their build is. You know, if they try to summon the Kaba, well, mainly android players, if they try to summon the Kaba to self-awaken, we say no to that. We played the 3rd Returning Terror, and then we played the 4th Clan of Terror. So before the 2 cards that I mentioned I switched out, my friend Danny ran 2 Time Patrol Trunks. You know, he told me that they never really came in at all. He was like, you can take those 2 cards out and switch them for something else. So, as mentioned, sometimes I really wish I had more of the Returning Terror. So I decided to side a 3rd for any aggro builds, in the sense where they throw up a lot of cards on the field. They'll stay rested. I'm like, all right, pop this, get rid of 2, boom. Super easy solution for multiple threats on the field. And then obviously I cited the 4th one for slower matchups where like Star Deck Goku, those are a little bit slower. It's a little harder to play the Clan of Terror because a lot of their cards are reactive during either player's turn. Like Gotenks, he gets to retap and then draw a card. Kales, you know, we get in situations where if they have no cards on the field and they have a Kale in hand, it's like, you know what, I might want to summon the Kale, even though it'll take my card away, but it'll also kill the Kale itself. So, you know, that's one way to get rid of it. Or in clutch situations, I was able to do this at the Cytex tournament where they have a Beerus in hand, but they only have 4 energies at the moment. So we'll summon the Beerus and the effect is dead. We'll run it over and they lost that. So, yeah. So I ran the 4th one for slower matchups so I can maintain more control. And then the last card in the side was Son Goten Family of Justice. Very good card. He came in for the Android matchup. Fortunately, I played him Top Cut, so he never came in. But, you know, they had the 17 promo on me where I couldn't draw. In the finals, I ended up awakening. I already had a vastly large hand size, so the 2 draw was not going to hurt me that much. I ended up awakening, so that way I can start drawing off my attacks. And then, of course, there were 2 retaps. So that's the side. So to talk about the matchup, let's talk about Conroe first because it happened first. So with the Conroe matchups, my round 1, I faced a guy named Edgar. He's a whatchamacallit, a local, a common local, a frequent local at Cytex. He plays Gotenks. It was a good matchup, pretty close. I had maintained control of the entire match in a sense. The discard was hurting me a lot. But I was playing in a sense where I had to force him to play cards or combo with cards if he really wanted the Go Tank's effect to go off, to where if I maintain more card control than if my hand size was larger than his hand size, I'll have to discard. That's the leader effect. So I beat him round 1. Round 2, I faced my friend Miguel, part of the team now. Welcome, Miguel. He played a green-yellow build that he saw states that his friend ran. That was very interesting. His friend went undefeated, so he wanted to test out the build. And that's one of the battles where the raccoon or the battering laser came in clutch. Negated one of the raccoon guns. I was like, I can't let this guy live for another turn. I'm about to deck out. He's about to overpower me. I have to put all the pressure on him now. Negated his raccoon gun, went in for a game. I won that game. Round 3, I played this guy named Marco James. Very, very cool guy. Very well mannered. Very, very respectable guy. Shout out to him. And he played starter deck Goku. He resulted first. I think I resulted maybe 2 turns later. I maintained board control once again. The promo Frieza, the one that allows me to look in hand, pretty much took out his Piccolos. Started putting pressure on him. He had to use some offensive cards. He comboed with Kales and so forth. Slowly but surely, I gained control of the battle. Ended up winning that one. Round 4, I think they did 4 rounds, and then we went to Top Cut because there was 16 players. Round 4, I went against Milton Trey. Very good battler. When I see him, he doesn't really look that guy that I should be afraid of to battle. But no, the guy is very skilled. He knows what he's doing. He actually made it to top 4 in states, the same one that we went to. Lost in an embarrassing way. We won't talk about it. But yeah, so that ended up being a draw. He showed me at the very end of the battle, he had 4 negates. He had 3 Jockos in hand. There was no way I was going to beat him. They called time. They said they ruled it there. If we cannot defeat each other, no matter what the life count looking like versus mine to his, it was going to be a draw. So we may have not been playing to win because we were already in Top Cut, but we were not playing to lose either. So we played it safe. I did not give him any resources. And whatchamacallit? He could not finish me, and I could not finish him. Obviously, he could not finish me because he had 4 negates. You can't combo with those. Those cards are dead when you're on offense. And then we went to Top Cut. Round 1, I faced my teammate Anthony, very good player. He ran the Mecha Frieza. He ran an interesting build. It lacked a little offense in a sense, but I was able to beat him from there. So I defeated the Mecha Frieza that he ran. Round 2, I faced my friend Miguel again. Once again, battering laser. We were grinding each other a little bit. We were filtering through our decks because he ran the Golden Frieza leader as well. Battering laser, wanted to make the game. Negated his raccoon, went in for game. He couldn't out combo it. That was done. And then we went into the finals where I faced my friend Darian, the guy who I played against in states and beat. He was running interesting build. He ran Vegeta Broly, the Vegeta leader with the Broly engine and Kales in the deck. So I never faced this build before, so I did not know entirely how to handle it. So the route I ended up taking was, normally with Vegeta leaders, I'll go aggro with them. Side note, with this leader, I literally, on day 2 of Cytex, because I learned my lesson from day 1, I literally did not attack a leader until I awakened. So every time I awakened, unless my opponents had Kabas or some type of self-awakening system, they were always at 8 life. And I'll explain why I decided to take that path. So with the Vegeta in the finals, I went aggro. He was awakened pretty much by his turn 2. He went first, so turn 1 he took a life, passed back to me. Turn 3, he was awakened by turn 3. I did my turn, I had an energy set. He went. I made a mistake here. I did it as a jokingly manner, but in states, as mentioned, I had all 3 Gohans. When he attacked me for double strike, he only comboed with the Champa. So he was coming in for 20k. He was telling me, go ahead and summon that 15k drop. I know you have it. What I should have done was taken the 2 life there, but in a joking manner, which, it's not an excuse. I did it anyways. I comboed with the 10k piece, and I threw 1 card from my hand. It was a gold, though, that I should have used to pop and draw. But yes, I lost 2 cards from my hands just to keep 2 cards in my life when I shouldn't have done that. And yeah, so we got a good laugh out of that. But the big misplay was the next turn. He was at 6 life, I think, because he took life turn 1, passed to me, I set up. Turn 2, he took another life. He was at 6. He attacked me. I stunned him to 15k. By turn 3, I attacked him with my leader and my 15k. That put him at 4 life. So he pretty much, by his turn 3, he awakened, and that's pretty much where I lost the game. That's where I lost control of the game, because his hand size just grew large, and it just went from there. I could not outgrind him with the Broly matchup and so forth. So basically, he ended up winning that. He ended up outgrinding me. I feel like if I did not awaken him so early, I'm not going to say I would have won guaranteed, because obviously we don't know how the interactions would have been, but I would have been in a much better situation where I could have maintained control. So that's how I ended up in 2nd place. I was very disappointed in the loss. I really wish it was a match, because after I realized my mistakes, I felt like I could have turned it around with a different play style. But congratulations to Darren. He won his store. That's his store. He saved his team from Cytex taking over. When I go into my store, I was very determined. I was very disappointed I got 2nd place. I was determined to get 1st place. I was talking to one of my teammates. I told him, I'm looking for blood. I want to win. I want to represent this deck for my boy Danny. I'm going for the 1st place, no matter what. So my shop tournament, round 1, I played against a fairly new player. I knew him. He's one of my co-teammates' friends. He's fairly new to the game, so there were some questionable plays he was making. So I took that one. He had started that Goku. He was running the red blue, and he was just too aggro. He awakened me by turn 2 by double comboing me, and it's the same thing with the Vegeta player. I basically grew my hand size. And I just maintained control from there. Round 2, I played. Oh man, what was round 2? I played a game. I played not mirror match. I played against started at Goku. His name was Oscar. Very good player. Game 1. That was the one where I did not awaken until I had like 7-8 energy. That's when I drew the results of training. He was not attacking me because he did not want to awaken me, so he was basically trying to build board presence. But every time he summoned the gold tanks, I had a bloodlust for it. I think 3 of the gold tanks, I bloodlusted 2 of them. Fortunately, I did not see my 3rd one that was in the deck, but I mean, having 2 bloodlusts that early was fortunate. I ended up coming back that game. It was very, very tight. He said after the match, he said he felt that he made the mistake by not being aggro on me when he was awakened. He was already building hand size. So, and I kind of agree with them. I feel like if you have an advantage over your opponents, you should start beating them down and making them use the resources in their hand in order to survive. And that's when you take their weapons away. But we went to game 2. He went in with a different game plan. He adapted to the situation. Very respectable by him. He got a little bit more aggro on me. And I won game 2 by 1 combo piece. He comboed for 40. I had a combo out of 45. I was tapped out. I had to use 2 energies for 10k combos of my hand, and a Goldo was my last combo piece that I could have comboed with, and I was able to hit 45. And after that, next turn, he didn't have a hand to defend himself, and I was able to push for a game. But that was a very close. Shout out to Oscar, very good player. He was playing starter deck Goku. Round 3, I faced my co-teammate, my co-captain, teammate Omar. It was a manslaughter. My boy made a terrible mistake by not running results of training. He forgot, he ran starter deck Goku as well. He had to make a deck out of scrap, which he made for starter deck Goku because he forgot his deck at home. So yeah, he could not find results of training apparently. He did not ask me, but shout out to Omar because he actually made it to top 4 without results of trading. So very big props to him. Round, what is this, 4? I faced a Broly deck. So going back to Vegeta, nightmares started kicking in. I started having a panic attack. I was like, I cannot lose to Broly. I cannot lose to Broly. He was 3-0. I was 3-0. We started playing. He was attacking my leader. As mentioned, I did not attack anybody until I awakened. Not once. So everyone was at 8 life when I awakened. Because the reason for that is that it puts them in a situation where they have to play with less cards. And what I mean by that is, when you attack a leader, you give them an extra card to whether decide they want to use this for energy or they can proceed with their game plan, the deck's game plan. So what I put everyone in a situation is that within the first 5 turns, 5 to 6 turns, because I would normally have results of training, within the first 5 to 6 turns, they would be playing with whatever, you know, their hand size will be like 5. Depends on average. Depends if they have booze or not. But they will play around with 5 to 6 hand size. And I'm over here making decisions with 7 to 8 because they will attack my leader. And the way my shop tournament ran, they did best of 3s. Best out of 3 in Swiss. So with game 1, some of my opponents in game 1, they would attack me, but when they realized that I had a game plan of never attacking them until I awaken, in game 2 they would do the same thing, which is very good. I like to see that. I like people adapting to different game plans to see which one works better. So yeah, so when I awaken attack, even though they're getting a card, I'm also getting a card. So it neutralizes the addition that they're gaining. So that was the game plan behind this. And also by turn 4, the game plan was basically to summon the promo Frieza. Whatever cards they had in their hand, I'll play it on field. And I would attack my leader into that card if it's a 15k, or the promo Frieza into that card. It's just, you know, it's just dwindle their hand and make it harder for them, because they will skip energy sometimes. And when they skip energy, it's, you know, it's very good, because that means you have one more energy to play with, one more energy to put more pressure with. So that was the game plan with the Golden Frieza. I did not attack anybody until I awakened. So the Broly player was in that situation, you know, when even though I was milling cards from my hand, I would ask him how many cards in hand. He would be like 4. I'm like, oh wow, that's a very small hand size. I have 4 energies. I can, you know, attack his leader once and summon the promo Frieza, look at his hand, start dwindling it down, and make sure he plays the game that I want him to play. That's why I prefer this deck over to Goku, because this deck just has so much control of your opponent. Like all weekend, this deck was basically telling my opponents, you cannot play the game. So that was my 4th round. I ended up winning that. I 2-0'd absolutely everyone in Swiss at Cytex. Round 5, I believe this... No, there was 6 rounds, I think. Yeah, there was 6 rounds. Who did I play in my round 5? Okay, I cannot remember round 5, but I know my final round... No, there were only 5 rounds. Okay, I apologize. There were only 5 rounds because there was 3 games in top and I went 8-0. So, round 5, it was also my starter deck Goku. Very good player. This is the one that I mentioned. Game 1, he was attacking me. He attacked me twice until he realized I never attacked him. And he had stopped attacking me. And then I won game 1. I think it was a very fashionably controlling manner. I won it convincingly. In game 2, he did not attack me at all, which made it a little harder. One of the things, Peter Katani mentioned this, and I agree with him. One of the things that's really hard about this deck is that what to energize. Like when you're energizing each turn, you don't know what you want to energize. It's very difficult, but you know, you just have to pick a game plan, energize the card that doesn't go with that game plan, and then just, you know, go through with it. So I beat him 2-0. Then we went to Top Cut. This is when it was announced that, hey, we want to close the store as soon as possible, so we're doing best of 1s. I was highly upset because my first game in Top Cut, I think we did top 8, 4, then finals. So my top 8 was against an Android player. Now, I did not want to get selled. I have a side deck specifically for sell, and basically, yeah, but I did not get selled. It was basically controlling the whole game. After like turn 3, the whole game, he was playing only 2 cards in hand every single time. He would not awaken. He tried a Kaba, Bloodlust at 7 energy. When they were at 8 energy, I'll let them Kaba, because that means they're going to give me 2 extra cards to play with. But after that, I will not let them Kaba. I Bloodlusted, not Crusher Ball, because that's in the side deck, but I Bloodlusted the Kabas, and they just sat there. I Goldoed, put that in defense, run it over with Golden Frieza, so forth. Total control. First game was a landslide. Top 4, I played against my friend Omar. The most heartbreaking game I've ever played against a team member, or anybody for that fact, because my deck, I could not get to my heavy hitters. So I was basically drawing all my 1-drops, my extra cards, and my 7-drop cooler, which I had nothing in the grade for. And I just have to basically wait out my partner, Omar. And as mentioned, he did run results of training. I did when I faced him in Swiss, I didn't know he wasn't running results of training. So I basically did what I do with every single person. I would knock them down to 5 life, and then I would not get aggro until I know I can use the resources in his hand. And that's how I beat him. And then after the battle, he told me I don't run results of training. I was like, oh, what's wrong with you? So whether I think he told me he did so well because people didn't know he did not run the results of training. But even if I did not know, I still would have went in with the same game plan. I would not have gone in and attack because I want the Piccolos to be dead. That was another game plan. When they were stayed at 5 energies, their Piccolos were dead. and I was summoning the promo Frieza, killed the Piccolos. Once I knew the Piccolos were out of the way, or any 10k combo piece, once I knew they were out the way, that's when I'll start getting aggressive. Because as mentioned, if they want to survive, they need to start using their own offensive weapons in order to survive. And the next turn, they only have limited weapons to use against me. So, heartbreaking match, but I ended up winning that. I think he even ran results of training. He may have won that because my deck was just, I was just not drawing the right cards at that time. But once again, shout out to Omar for making it to top 4 without results of training. Finals, I played my my good team member, JP. He made it to the finals. He came up to me. He called it out. Hey, I'm going to meet you in the finals. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to be there because I'm looking to win. So make sure you get there. He got there. Congratulations to him. We played, obviously best of ones. I really wish it was best of threes, but we played. It was the same thing as the first Android player. He summoned one Kaba, I believe. He attacked me. I think he summoned a Kaba. He attacked me and he put me to 6, or yeah, he put me to 6. And after that, I ran the Kaba over. He summoned the promo 17 on me. It got to the point where I just resulted just to awaken because my hand size was larger than his. And then he summoned another Kaba, bloodlusted. I will not allow you to awaken until I say so. I said in my head, or my boy Danny say, I'll tell you when to awaken. LOL. But yeah, so that happened, and from there I just basically dwindled his hand. And then when it got to the time to be aggro, he had to use resources in his hand, his offensive resources in his hand in order to survive. And after that, he just did not have that many weapons to outlast my weapons. It got to the point where I literally had the triple striker on the field, 2 promos of the Friezas that look at the hand, a 7-drop cooler, a couple of 15k, the 1 energy 10k combo guys. I had 2 in the field. It was just way too many offensive weapons for him. And then I summoned the beers to pop his cell. Yeah, so like I said, that was the shop tournament for that one. So going back to this one, if I would have went in with a game plan of not attacking in the finals, if not attacking the Vegeta leader, I feel like I would have had a better matchup. But not to discredit my friend Darian, he beat me. Congratulations to him once again. Congratulations to all my team members who got there. Shout out to all of them. I think it was a very successful tournament. And yeah, so that's the deck. I think this deck is 100% better than Goku. As long as you can get the engine rolling, because late game Goku summons double threats and it's really hard to deal with them. But as mentioned, if you can get your game plan rolling early on, you dwindle their Piccolos in their hand, you put pressure on them, and then they won't have offensive weapons to attack you with next turn. But yeah, sorry for talking so much, guys, but I just want to give you guys the full detail of the deck and my experience. But shout out to my team members, shout out to my store. I love Cytex, looking for it to improve for more. And yeah, thanks.